Imagine stepping back in time. Not just a few hundred years, but 13,000 years. The world is a vastly different place. Towering ice sheets are just beginning to retreat, and North America is roamed by giants. This is the world of the Clovis people, some of the earliest and most fascinating inhabitants of the continent. What were they, and how did they not only survive but thrive in such a challenging environment? Join me as we journey back to the Ice Age to uncover the secrets of these legendary mammoth hunters. The story of the Clovis people begins with a single, iconic artifact: the Clovis point. These aren't just any old arrowheads, found scattered across North America, from Nova Scotia to Mexico. These beautifully crafted spear points are the calling card of a widespread and successful culture. They are fluted, meaning a channel was skillfully removed from the base. This unique design wasn't just for looks. It was a marvel of prehistoric engineering, allowing the point to be securely attached to a spear shaft, creating a formidable weapon. The sheer number and distribution of these points tell us that the Clovis people were highly mobile and adaptable, a culture on the move. They were true pioneers of a continent just shrugging off the last vestiges of the Ice Age. For a long time, they were considered the very first people in the Americas. A theory we now know is more complex, but their impact remains undeniable. They weren't just a small, isolated group. They were a continental phenomenon. So, what do you do when you live in a world filled with colossal beasts like the Columbian mammoth, which stood up to 13 feet tall at the shoulder and weighed over 10 tons? If you're the Clovis people, you hunt them. Archaeological evidence paints a clear picture. The Clovis people were super carnivores. While they certainly ate other things, their diet was heavily dominated by meat from megafauna. Imagine the courage and skill it would take to face down a mammoth. These weren't just opportunistic scavengers. They were highly organized and strategic hunters. Sites have been found with the remains of multiple mammoths alongside Clovis tools, suggesting group hunts and a deep understanding of animal behavior. This focus on big game hunting shaped their entire way of life. From their tools and social structure to where they chose to live, they were the apex predators of their time, masters of a world that we can now only imagine. When you think of hunting a mammoth with a spear, you might picture a group of hunters throwing their weapons from a distance, but the reality was likely far more terrifying and ingenious. Many researchers believe that throwing a spear wouldn't have generated enough force to penetrate a mammoth as thick hide and muscle. Instead, the Clovis people probably used their spears as thrusting lances or pikes. One particularly effective technique might have involved setting traps. They could have dug pits or used natural features to immobilize an animal. Then, hunters would move in on foot, using their heavy, razor-sharp spears to strike at vital areas from up close. Another theory suggests the use of planted pikes. Imagine a line of hunters holding their ground, spears firmly planted in the earth, angled upwards to meet the charge of a stampeding beast. It would have been a high-risk, high-reward strategy requiring incredible bravery, coordination, and a profound understanding of their prey. This wasn't just brute force. It was a chess match with a 10-ton opponent. While mammoths and mastodons were the headline act, the Clovis menu was more varied than you might think. Being a super carnivore doesn't mean you only eat one thing. Archaeological sites show that they also hunted a wide range of other animals. The remains of bison, elk, caribou, deer, and even smaller game like turtles and waterfowl have been found at Clovis-era sites. This tells us they were incredibly resourceful. When a mammoth hunt wasn't successful, or when smaller, less dangerous prey was available, they adapted. This dietary flexibility was key to their success. It allowed them to thrive in diverse environments, from open grasslands to woodlands. They weren't just mammoth specialists. They were master survivalists who knew how to make the most of whatever their local environment had to offer. This adaptability is a hallmark of their culture and a primary reason they were able to spread so successfully across the continent. Every story has an end, and the story of the Clovis culture is particularly dramatic. After flourishing for several hundred years, they seem to vanish from the archaeological record around 12,800 years ago. So, what happened? The most widely accepted theory is tied directly to their primary food source. The end of the Clovis period coincides with a major extinction event that saw the disappearance of mammoths, mastodons, and many other large Ice Age mammals. As the climate warmed and their giant prey died out, the Clovis way of life, so heavily dependent on big game hunting, became unsustainable. The very specialization that made them so successful may have ultimately been their undoing. The world was changing, and the giants were gone. Another compelling, though more controversial, theory is the Younger Dryas impact hypothesis. This idea proposes that a comet or asteroid exploded over North America around 12,800 years ago. Such an event would have caused catastrophic environmental changes, including widespread wildfires, a dramatic cooling of the climate, and the collapse of ecosystems. Proponents of this theory point to a black mat layer found at many archaeological sites, containing materials like nenotium mans and soot, as evidence of this cosmic cataclysm. This event would have directly contributed to the extinction of the megafauna and created conditions that were impossible for the Clovis people to survive, whether it was a slow decline or a sudden catastrophe. The end of the Clovis era marks a major turning point in the human story of the Americas. So, did the Clovis people themselves go extinct? Not exactly. While their unique culture and their signature spear points disappear, the people themselves likely survived. They adapted. As the big game vanished, hunting strategies had to change. The focus shifted to smaller, more numerous animals like bison and deer. This led to the development of new toolkits and new ways of life. The descendants of the Clovis people became the ancestors of the many diverse Native American cultures that followed. For example, the Folsom culture, known for hunting the new extinct bison, emerged shortly after the Clovis period, with their own distinct, but related, style of fluted point. The legacy of the Clovis people isn't one of disappearance, but of transformation. They laid the foundation for all the human history that would follow in North America. From their masterful stone tools to their epic hunts, the Clovis people offer us a breathtaking glimpse into a lost world. They were pioneers and innovators who faced down Ice Age giants and thrived on a continent undergoing massive change. Their story is a powerful reminder of human ingenuity, adaptability, and our deep connection to the environment. While their specific culture may be gone, their spirit of survival echoes through the millennia. They weren't just the first, but they were among the most successful and fascinating chapters in the long and rich history of people in the Americas. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back to the Ice Age. What do you find most fascinating about the Clovis people? Let me know in the comments below.